freaking like describe it, bro.
You
I
see
just
what's
can't
going on in
even.
New York City right now?
Uh-uh.
There's 50,000 protesters on Fifth Avenue.
Doing what? Don't they have
Just
jobs?
I don't even know what they're protesting. I don't even
Holy
know.
crap.
Like, I don't know who they're protesting for, but I know anytime you start getting groups of 50,000 together,
Yeah, that ain't good, dude.
all right, let's see how
There.
YouTube is
Close
going.
that off. Ben Pappas coming in. Thank goodness we finally got a Ben Pappas. It's good.
Hey
Wonderful.
man, what's going on?
We figured it
Listen
out.
to Ben. Ben got deep voice. He got real mic. He got like, man.
He got the it's
You know how I
properly
do it, Jake.
produced. He's got
This is
bass
how I
in his
do it all the
voice.
time right here.
Oh wow! Coming to the quiet storm. Welcome to
That's
Delilah
right.
and the quiet
We're gonna
storm,
talk
everybody.
about
Hey,
Come to
Benny,
the
did you
quiet
hear
storm.
about the active shooter at the Naval Academy that was absolute straight comedy?
No, man, what happened?
So, yesterday over the internet, somebody spoofed a bunch of people at different schools, a bunch of HBCUs. If you ask me, it was like a preliminary, let's see what happens if we do this. So they put
Okay.
active shooter in Bancroft Hall, 7th Wing, dressed as a policeman, and then they sent out a picture of a kid that got kicked out of school yesterday. But he was already in Indiana, and so then some midshipman clubbed the policeman with the drill rifle, and then the policeman shot him. So,
What?
What?
oh yeah, straight up out of a comic book, bro. And you
Get
know I got a bunch of kids on the yard, so I'm in the group chat. I'm like, look, man, be dangerous. Like,
Oh
get
my
out the
God.
building, run, like, go somewhere.
Holy crap! No, I didn't
And
hear
here's
about
the
this, man.
other thing that's crazy. They locked everybody in Dahlgren, and I'm like, can I just
Now,
raise my hand for locking everybody in the same place? Like, now that we know where everybody's locked in, like, we can set up some solid explosives and eliminate 4,000 of the country's best.
like, what
Like,
are we
right.
talking about? That's not how you do that, homie.
nah,
That's
bruh.
insane. That's
Bad
insane,
plan.
man.
Bad
Absolutely
plan.
insane.
So,
Yeah, that is wacky land right there.
Well,
But I
guys,
will tell you, as
Go ahead,
having
Matt.
been, I'm so sorry, but having
You're fine.
been an active shooter myself on the Naval Academy with a water balloon launcher, the pickings are pretty good at the pep rallies. Not gonna lie, out the main office window, firing a high velocity water balloon launcher. Never forget, smacking the bejesus out of somebody. They were sitting on like the wall, during the pep rally.
yep.
Yep. And hostile act, hostile intent. We made sure, it was a clear shot, and we took it. And boy, oh boy, very nice, very nice. Target rich environment. Water balloon launcher is the best.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Peaches in the chat saying that I'm out here looking like Joe Dirt. That's just the most hurtful thing that I can
messed up,
imagine.
man. It's
He's my
messed up.
friend. He can walk into my house without knocking on the door and not get shot. You know what level of friendship that is with me? This guy is a close family friend of decades long, and that's how he treats me in the chat. Everybody,
Oh.
you're already tracking this. We figured out the little technical glitch we had at the beginning. The ghost of Jay is really screwing us up. He's somewhere in the system making it so that we can't figure out how to do stuff. Welcome back to the War Room. You got myself, you got the Madman, Jake Swig, you got Ben Pappas. Listen, there's crazy stuff that's going on right now, so we're going to talk about the recent shooting and murdering of Charlie Kirk on stage in Utah, doing one of his normal Prove Me Wrong debate events. Obviously, we're going to go through it. We're going to do the timeline a little bit differently. You're here for a reason because we look at things in a different way. We're going to break up each individual section and kind of give our thoughts on it. I'm not just going to read the timeline to you. You can find that anywhere. But what you're here for is to hear us talk about how the event unfolded. Maybe there was a way that we can get ahead of it. Maybe there's something that you guys aren't seeing that we are. That's why we're here, to bring you into the world. Then we're going to get into, there's possible some Article 4, maybe Article 5 actions that are happening over right now. Everybody is mobilized. And if you're not tracking, there is an actual troop movement that's in its infancy. Ben Pappas, subject matter expert. He's going to tell us exactly what's going on. So he's going to bring that in to close the show up. As always, we're going to give you some tips and tricks to try to get you through these crazy times. We're going to focus on working through that traumatic event and still being a leader, because people need you to lead at all times, but especially when we're in the shit. And I think we all agree, like, things are wild out there, folks. They're crazy. And we need leaders and people that are going to bring along their community with them. That's what we're here to give you. Jake, what's new in your world, dude? Welcome.
Man, we're just trying to lay low, stay out the public, and there's a lot of craziness going on. You better be armed, you better be ready, and you better have a plan. So I'm gonna tell you right now, like when it goes down, it's gonna go down quick. And if you don't have a plan and you're standing there, you're gonna become a victim.
Yep. And Ben, there's a ton of calls, right? We're going to talk about what we think the outputs of this are, what we think, where do we go from here? What's the end state? What are we trying to do here? Man, how have you been doing? And then what does daily life find you like right now?
Yeah, man, I've been good. Been grinding as usual. Probably, got my Thursday 8 p.m. every Thursday 8 p.m. Show. It's turned into about a 2-hour and 2.5-hour extravaganza. Good time over there. So that's every Thursday night 8 p.m. Then Sunday at 4 p.m. I'm live as well too. Both live days for me, and covering a lot of these topics. Really deep diving in. Pretty disappointing. Make an understatement, but the level of political violence in our country right now is unacceptable. It's always unacceptable, but I mean, it's becoming a real TTP, and so,
Yep.
And then, frankly, the lack of courage and concern for your fellow citizen, your fellow human, okay? Mm-hmm. As we saw with, what happened on the train, that no one did a damn thing. No one lifted a finger to help somebody. And I'm not even saying you got to be a superhero, but, ask somebody if they're okay. So that's what's going on in my world right now. Things that are kind of really hitting me pretty hard. And, we need a real call for leadership. We're our leaders. And the thing is, with these, a lot of these freak shows out there and these scumbags that are celebrating stuff, and I'm not to jump right into everything, but you see these videos.
Go ahead, big fella.
You see these videos, you see all this crap, and it's like influencers out there, leaders out there. Your words can change people's actions, because some of these wackies, right? These nut jobs will run with whatever they think you will support and you will approve of. So my young leaders, my middle-aged leaders, my older leaders, man, take control of what the frig you say, and let's get it going. We need time for leadership is now.
Yep. And we are going to hit a bunch of that stuff. It's weird how you can connect a feeling, a general entire environment. Like when you remember a memory, some of those memories are dense and they're thick, and you remember smells and you remember how you felt. Sometimes you can even feel yourself feeling those same feelings looking back on stuff. This September is going to be a watershed moment for a lot of people. If these two events, the slaughtering of the Ukrainian refugee and what was obviously a racially motivated crime by a madman, completely random, between that and the slaughter of Charlie Kirk on stage at the Turning Point event, those two things right there are going to pull the mask off of everybody. And we are already sort of seeing returns on that with prominent liberal influencers coming out, not only saying that they condemn it, but they're like, what have I been supporting? I got to go. I got to get out of here. So we're going to talk about all those cultural impacts. We'll just jump right into it. So here's the timeline. 8:29, the suspect shows up. Now, all of these things that we have before the shootings have been collaborated and corroborated from multiple reporting. I am just using the CBS News, just using the most mainstream of media to get this down in here. I haven't verified this timeline minute to minute. I've checked to see that it's accurate against other sources, but keep that in mind. I don't subscribe to this information. I'm just reading it to you. If you disagree, argue in the comments and don't tag me. A man resembling the suspect captured on a surveillance camera at 11:49. There are some videos that we can find on social media. We're not going to jump back and forth, but there's videos on social media where somebody quite clearly points him out on the roof of the Low C building. It's about 200 meters, 180 out from this, using this as your point of reference. The Low C building, I think they have an actual diagram of it below here. So Low C, center, rooftop. This is where the sniper was laying down to a coordinated shot at Charlie Kirk later in the timeline, but that's just to vector you into what we're talking about. So at 12:23, that's when the shots rang out. Charlie was asking questions of the crowd. The topic of the question is very interesting. We're going to talk about that in a second. So, Jake, man, just from your security mindset, Charlie Kirk has 24/7 security. Something to think about is that this is not the first attempt on his life. It's just the first one that worked. It's the only reason we're talking about it, is that this is the one that finally got through, and they finally found a way to defeat his security. What can these security firms be doing to prevent stuff like this for their principals? Because a lot of the right-wing influencers have come out and been like, no, we're still going.
So I'm going to tell you, there's two things that I just think are absolutely atrocious. We've got to have counter sniper. So if I had one sniper, any one of Ben's snipers in any position looking out from the suspect or from the target, he would have saw this guy as soon as he got on the roof and he would have eliminated him. No different than the president. Okay.
Right. Or
The second thing,
or that sniper would have went, hey, there's a direct line to an elevated rooftop above this position here. We should probably look at that. Like he would know to tell you that that's a danger area.
100%, like all the danger areas be mapped out. The second thing is, I'm not sure, I don't know if anybody's been watching Ukraine, but these little drones are pretty damn effective, right? And for us to not have ISR at this point in 2025, like ISR doesn't even cost that much money. Yes, it's another person on your security detail, but I know this, it'll eliminate all these rooftop shootings we got going on, right? And it'll also, the other thing is, like, where are my counterintelligence guys? Like, if I got 3 or 4 guys on the outsides of the crowd, like, I'm going to be able to see some stuff. But my big 2 things are counter sniper and ISR. Both of them very doable, not expensive. Like, they had 4, like, I'm going to give you an example. They had 4 security guards standing right there, and not one of them saved his life. Okay, so.
Yeah, I get it. Ben, as you kind of look at this timeline develop, what are these big things that we're missing here? So obviously, you know, we'll find out if the FBI, and we're going to talk about the person that they've arrested, they've charged. President Trump dropped that at 6:03 a.m. He said, hey, we've got the person connected. This person has copped to doing it to close family members. We'll talk about all that stuff at the end, so just let it develop. But Ben, as we look at this situation develop here, and we see these holes in our game, and we go, hey, wait a second. What are some of those intangible things that we can do in order to prevent this? Like, what sort of cultural thing can we do amongst our team to make sure that this trail of security failures doesn't lead to something terrible in the future?
I mean, I think, you know, the first thing is the mindset, right? The mindset, we can get into the tactics and the actual things we have to do, but the mindset, first of all, that it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, just when. And not if today is the day, but today is the day. If they take the shot, where's it going to come from? So, former Force Recon sniper, shout out to Mark Allen out there, did a viral video with, you know, over 1 million views in about, you know, less than 24 hours. He did a, I think it was a CAD type 360 3D discussion on how he would have done this. Very experienced sniper. But one thing of note is that a professional sniper would have gone inside. Okay, would have used suppressed weapon, would have gone inside. Because you muffle the shot, reduce the signature, all kinds of things. Very hard if you have an urban sniper, well-trained urban sniper who is using all the right tradecraft and fieldcraft to camouflage themselves inside a dark room. So where the shot came from, the echo of the shot, first of all those things like that, is outside. So what's concerning is that the untrained shooter, the person doesn't know any better. This is the lone wolf. Turns out he really isn't really a lone wolf, according to what Discord is revealing right now.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
We'll get about that. We'll get into that in a minute. But if it's a lone wolf, it's very hard. And this is right out of, like, you know, the anarchist cookbook and, you know, the you know, propaganda of the deed and all these things from turn of the century and 19th century. But, you know, they want the lone operator. It's undetectable. You can't divulge anyone in a cell when you're operating off ideology by yourself. And turns out he wasn't. You know, he was heavily influenced by, I believe, what I'm hearing in Antifa cell, but we'll talk about that. But that's the first thing, is the mindset. It's going to happen, like Jake said, and like you said too, Aaron. Like, you know, where are the lines? Where would you shoot from? And the thing is, you gotta sometimes ask not just the professional sniper, because the professional sniper is like, oh, I know what I do it from. This is the best place. This is the school trained place. This is survivable. These guys aren't looking to survive always. They're looking just to get the shot. And so, what's the easiest access point, even if they get caught, that the job can be done? It's a kamikaze type sniper mission. And that's the mindset we have to go in with. Both the professional assassin and then the kamikaze who just has the skill. They have the skill to deploy the weapon system. They don't have the skill to use the weapon system, but they don't have the survivability of a trained sniper. They're not looking to survive. They know this is it. One shot, one kill, and I'm out. So
that brings us to 12:23. That's when shots rang out. There was a single shot as Charlie Kirk was answering a question. The question, which is highly ironic, is there was a debate going back and forth about the LGBTQIA plus two-spirit ampersand $, apostrophe mark community. And as they were talking about this, the debate guy was actually arguing with Charlie that there's no reason to demonize them as Charlie has done, at least in his opinion, because they are in fact so peaceful. So those weren't my words. The guy that was talking to Charlie Kirk went on Instagram and filmed his own video. Charlie Kirk, everybody saw the video. I'm not playing the video for you for two reasons. Number one, I've seen enough death in my life. I've seen that video enough times, so I won't even play it on here. It's just a guy losing his life in front of his family. But he immediately catches a shot, obvious exit out of his left neck area, and it was just a shit show right away. Jake, we were kind of texting about this, and we're talking to, immediately every group chat with any bro in it starts just absolutely blowing up. Be like, dude, look at this. I bet 100 people DM me that video. Like, did you start getting the pings in and the question marks or what?
So you guys know I sent it to you 4 minutes after it hit my inbox. So I got it from a guy that works at a pretty high level in the government. I don't know how he got it so fast because I literally had it 3 minutes. When I got it, I went to CNN, and it still wasn't on CNN. It took like 3 minutes later for it to hit CNN. But everybody blew up, right? And the thing that's so absolutely crazy is everybody was running down the list of how could this happen, right? And I keep telling people, like, you're a soft target in America. I don't care where you're at, who you are.
Yep.
If we want to get you, it's easy.
Yep.
And this goes to show, like, this guy had security, he had a detail, there had been some attempts on his life before, and they still got him. Like a 22-year-old untrained, kid from Utah was able to snuff out another person in America. So yeah, it all blew up, man. Like, all inboxes, and obviously we were talking, Ben was talking. The thing that's getting me right now is just how America is reacting to it in such a crazy way. I want to just say this from the beginning. I didn't know who this dude was at all, okay? I didn't know. I said, okay, let me go watch a couple of his videos. Did he have some ideology that was kind of a little bit out there? But I will say this. Never once was he, like, disrespectful in these debates that he was doing.
Right.
He had his points. I thought he was, in my opinion, for somebody that kind of was out there a little bit, he had a very, very great way of putting things. And I was just like, man, shit, we want to kill this dude? I can give you 50,000 dudes worse than this guy in America that we should kill before we kill this dude.
Right. And it's it opens the interesting discussion, right? The interesting discussion is free speech in America. And, I would start with, does it even exist? And then number two, like, Charlie was the embodiment of freedom of speech. They couldn't stop him in any other way. He was effective. He helped Trump get elected in 2020. He was the face of the young American conservative, especially male movement. He's one of the people that was leading that charge to the right for these young male Americans. And they saw him as a threat, and he was effective, and they couldn't stop him, and there was only one way to silence him. And that's kind of like where we ended up, right? We're going to talk about some of the cultural impacts from this, but Ben, just take us through the moment when that goes off. We saw the reaction. I think I said it in the group chat. For the folks out there, like, the reporting that Charlie had lived and was stabilized, the difference between stable and stabilized is they stop what's going on. That's stabilized. They stabilized him. And then if you're stable, that means somebody doesn't have to constantly do something to you to stay alive. When they said stabilize, like, that could have been true reporting. It could have been wishful thinking. They might, like, oftentimes they don't declare anybody dead until they get to the hospital. That's usually a pretty solid rule. Like, paramedics can't declare that somebody died. They'll declare at the hospital when they verified it. So that could have been a little bit there. But I'll tell you, from my optic, man, that's a non-survivable wound. Like, unless he got that wound when he was sitting on the operating table with a surgical team there, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, and I think that's why it's so hard for me to watch, is you look at that wound and you're like, there's nothing I can do. Ben, kind of in that scenario, you've got a close team of people. These security guys have worked with each other for a long time. I guarantee they know each other. I guarantee they've trained for this. As you're going into that scenario, how are you hoping to see your team respond when that bell goes up?
Well, I mean, Aaron, I think we don't even have a better expert than you in what you just said. I know that. So with that respect in mind, here's what I think all of us would hope for is that we do our jobs. We do what we were trained to do. We're going to, establish security. If we're in a gunfight, we're going to gain fire superiority, always number one, right? Gain fire superiority secure the area, and then move our wounded out once we gain fire superiority, because otherwise we have a whole lot of casualties in our hands. So it's a lone shooter, like in this situation, civilian situation, that we were thinking of. We don't know. What if it's a trained sniper? He's waiting, and he's going to pop the next person. They're going to cause real chaos. And so everybody understands the nightmare scenario. A mass casualty that we've had before in Las Vegas, all these different places, they don't know at that time. He might be waiting and like, yeah, okay, they don't see me yet, and I don't really care if you find me. Come kill me. I'm ready. I'm going to take out a couple more people. He might be waiting for another target. So there's a lot that happens, and we all know when the adrenaline surge hits, the shock hits. That's why we train so hard in chaos, so that we can do our jobs, right? We, create security. We get him out of there and try to evacuate Charlie in this case to give him a fighting chance. But I think that's all you can really hope for, because all the shock in the crowd, we don't know if there are going to be more shots. We just don't know. These days, we don't know what's going to happen next. So it's not a foregone conclusion that, oh, there's the one shot, we're all good now. You're in an active shooting site, right? You're in a combat zone at this point. So,
right. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, and at that point too, like even as the guy that's going hands on, you're just hoping that you go into that muscle memory, and you're just hoping that you do it. But again, there are such things as unsurvivable wounds. There are things that you can't do anything to help. So an evacuation obviously followed. They cleared the entire campus. They said they were going to door at one point. Dispatch audio described person on roof of building carrying a long rifle. We're going to talk a little bit more about that video, especially what doesn't make sense about it and what the FBI is claiming. We'll talk about that here in a second. This is the graphical depiction that I showed you. Kirk was in the central courtyard here, and it's just the most prominent position. You're shielded by buildings. On this side, there's a singular shooting lane, right? Like it sounds like a cringy thing to say, but it's the curse of having a little bit of experience. We look at this picture and we go, oh my God, get your snipers on that roof.
Right.
Like, oh my, you want to talk security, you got to secure that roof first right away.
Or like put a cop there. Just put somebody there. Right.
Right.
Someone's got to, a bouncer,
Listen,
somebody.
Somebody checking tickets. Get a couple velvet ropes for all I care. If anybody goes past the velvet ropes, let me know. Just tell me. So you look at it and you're just like, man, what's going on? Jake, how frustrated do you get when you look at a scenario like this and you're like, not only could I have helped, but that should have been readily apparent to people?
Yeah, I don't know about helping, man, but I mean, there's some simple things that you just got to look at. I'm going to go back to every one of these dudes on these security details they're not babies, man. Right. Like these dudes rolled out a GWAT. Like they just rolled out a GWAT. Like all them guys on the security details should like turn in all their shit and go home. Either that or the other thing that I've seen a lot, talking to my guy that does a lot of personal security, the guy being protected doesn't want an outward presence of security. Yeah. And so he won't allow you to do what you need to do to keep him safe. Like one of my guys was saying, a very rich person in America refused to not fly every Monday morning at 8 a.m. to the East Coast. Like he was leaving at 8 a.m. His flight left at the same time. They tried to get him to change the flight at the airport. He was like, no, I'm leaving from right here. So I don't know. I mean, I just look at that diagram. Highest building out there. I go back to, like for us, it's easy to be armchair quarterbacks. I mean, they lost their primary person, so they got a lot of soul searching to do. And let's see who had the contract and if they continue to get work.
Yeah. We're going to clean up some super chats before we go over to you, Ben. M. Corbin, okay. Cyberspace news, ducking dumpster fire. I tend to agree with you. It wasn't my choice. I'm cheap. From New Bob Dole, pragmatic perspective, assassination is the final form of political dissent in America. The problem is our education system turns out radical idiots. We're going to talk about that a little bit when we talk about the shooter. We talk about his background. We talk about his, how he grew up and who his parents were. We're definitely going to get into that. So thanks, New Bob Dole. So Cash Patel, go ahead.
One more thing. If anybody out there is listening to us and you want some help, you can hit Ben Pappas up. I'm going to put Ben Pappas on the thing. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you super common sense, but I ain't got no combat. So you can sit here and say what you want. But I know this, like, I can apply common sense to any situation, but I'm going to put Ben Pappas on the radar. If you guys got some personal security issues you're dealing with, give him a call or reach out to me and I'll put you in contact with my couple of goons that are really good at what they do.
The goony.
I appreciate you, Jake.
Hey, we're
Absolutely,
gonna
brother.
take a little side quest right here because we got a good super chat from Peaches, which is surprising to you as it is to me. So we're gonna talk about this briefly, but almost immediately after the shooting, as soon as it was breaking, there were people that were literally cheering, booing, heckling, saying bad things, posting videos. Some of those people were service members. Well, now there is a whole thing. Like if you have an open Instagram today, it's about 1/4 of the feed is these people that made these posts basically celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now they're getting fired. People are posting those. So Peaches had a great question here. What about the admin going after active duty members for talking shit about Charlie? Right or wrong of them to do? Great question, Peaches. Ben, you're a commander. Put yourself in this position. I'm going to stop sharing this screen. Put
So,
yourself in this position, Ben.
yeah.
So you're a commander. You've got a troop. Charlie Kirk was just slaughtered. And a troop comes out and says, he said what he said. Actions have consequences. I'm glad they shot Charlie Kirk. What do you do?
I think, first of all, for good order and discipline, you have to go back to policy. What is the established policy? Was this an elected official? Yes, a leader. Yes, influential. But I'm going, straight up. What is the established policy? Okay, now there's always the general article, right? So if we have a commissioned officer, as I saw, unfortunately, there was a commissioned officer who's on recruiting duty, who happened to be a Marine Corps officer, and, went buck wild saying all this stuff. There is the general article for conduct unbecoming. You can slam his ass all day. Now, I think for staff NCO is the same. Non-commissioned officers, you can do the same. So it's one thing to have their own personal views, but as an active duty service member, if you're doing something that brings discredit upon your unit or upon the military formation, right, then they have all kinds of tools they can do. And I hate to tell you, you're falling under the UCMJ. You're not a civilian. And so that doesn't mean you give up your right to free speech. It does not mean that, but it means you have a lot more rules. And so conduct unbecoming, again, if this is a very junior enlisted service member, they might be able to be, and also a junior non-commissioned officer as well too. But as soon as we get into the senior staff NCO and, commissioned officer ranks, especially beyond the rank of captain, major, things like that, I just think that if the commander believes you're bringing discredit and it's prejudicial to good order and discipline, and you're going to create a little, riot within the unit, they can crush your ass. You have no reasonable expectation of privacy, of freedom of speech, of any of those things. So that's my take on it.
So Jake, let me hit you with the curveball here. Let's say somebody's in the gray area. So a two-part question. How do we figure out what speech rises to the level? Like if you agree with, punishing people for their social media stuff, even under Article Unbecoming, that's 134, great. Do so if that's your prerogative as a commander. When we start talking about getting into some of these gray areas and start talking about, is this good or is this bad? The question that I want to ask for you is, like, let's say we do start firing people for these posts, like it's already started. Is that a slippery slope for the next person that gets in there and decides they don't like conservatives or not?
So I think it comes back to a better premise. When I was in the military, I didn't talk politics at all. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I got a loud mouth, right? Like I agree with what I agree with. I don't disagree.
That is news to everybody on this channel. You got a what now?
In the military, I wasn't saying nothing, man. Like I knew my role as a SEAL officer was to do what I was told, go down range, represent America, bringing hurt to bad guys, right? What I was not doing was going to activist stuff, active in politics, because all that stuff would just get you in trouble. We had a guy at the Naval Academy, shout out to Ruben Brigady. He was the ambassador to South Africa, and all he did the whole time at the Naval Academy was kind of posture, right? And so now he's on the radar for problems. Me personally, I was in the military to carry a gun and do bad things. So I just think right now it's kind of like Hegseth issuing the order on pulling back all social media in uniform. I think this is the exact same thing, right? Like, shaking your butt in uniform on, TikTok or Instagram or having an OF page. I think that's, it's detrimental to good order and discipline. And we, like Ben knows better than all of us, like it's a very slippery slope, good order and discipline. Like most of the time you're like 90% in good order and discipline, but it can go to 10% real fucking quick with some shenanigans. And then you divide the troops, and now you got a goddamn unfunctional war machine.
Yeah, that's 100%, Jake. And the one thing I'll add here is Jake's a football guy. I'm a football guy. Jake had a long career in football afterwards as a professional coach too. But one thing I know from my friends that are still in football, big time right now, and, professionals in it, is that if you're going to be having a conversation in the football team, you're having a football conversation. It's the same damn thing, in the Marine Corps and service. You keep it professional. If you want to stay, you want to stay within the lines and you want to make sure you don't get sideways, keep it professional. Now you can have your private opinions and you can say what you want to say. If you're asking, you say it, but I mean it's a different thing completely if you are just having a complete disregard for human life or anything like that. It's not saying anyone's going to dictate your politics or what you think. It's just saying when you are a member of, let's say you're a member of an NFL team. Okay, Lamar Jackson came out and made a great post today. He's like, I don't know the guy and I don't know this, but I'll tell you what, it is a damn shame to, be celebrating someone's death for someone who is just talking and, this and that. And I mean, and I don't even know what Lamar's politics are, anything like that, but it's just, as a leader of a team and, you're in an organization, you're held to the standard and policies of that organization, that team. So, that's just what I think about it, but.
Yeah. And to your point,
situation.
You crushed it. You don't give up your First Amendment rights. Those rights weren't given to you by a piece of paper. They were given to you by a creator that instilled that right of free speech inside of you. That is it, right? So nobody can take that away, but Ben's totally right. You agreed to adhere to the UCMJ, the lawful orders of the officers appointed over you, non-commissioned officers as well. That is what it is. So as we flash back to Utah here, video at 2:57 shows officers walking around. This is when we hit our first really weird thing. So it was immediately reported that a gentleman was apprehended as the shooter, what now looks to be a coordinated distraction until proven otherwise. This guy made himself known to law enforcement officers and started screaming, "Shoot me." Once they grabbed him and detained him, the only statement that he would give is, "I do not have to incriminate myself. Essentially, I'm claiming Fifth Amendment rights. So I have the right to remain silent." So I'll tell you, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, they caught him pretty quick. That makes sense. Well, then it started breaking. That's definitely not him. He was detained. There was a second guy that was detained that did the exact same thing, by the way. And as we start talking about Discord chats and how he was supported and stuff like that, I mean, I'll tell you, if I was planning this operation, I'd probably put the shooter right where the shooter was. It's a clear shot. It's really not that hard of a shot, but it's at that limit of where they're not expecting somebody to be able to do it. Gives me a clear vantage point, gives me a clear exit route. All I need is a distraction on the ground to give me 5 minutes of confusion to get away. And what happened? Two guys said, "Shoot me, shoot me, shoot me. I have the right to remain silent." The cops key in on him. They get distracted. And in that time, the shooter unasses the roof and exfils. Shortly afterwards, 2:40 p.m. Mountain Time, President Trump announced Charlie Kirk's death. I want to talk about Charlie Kirk here for a minute, because I think, and this is something that I've kind of been, developing for today. I've got two nuggets for you today. The first one being, I think the left gravely misunderstood who Charlie Kirk was. I think they did not understand. They thought he was just sort of in this male, manosphere space that's doing, get married, have kids, follow God, have conversations, this whole thing. They kind of see him as hokey. Of course, they all, condescending, and they think he's just some idiot dude. Charlie Kirk was the face of a generation. Andy Freitas, Green Beret congressman, he that's not Freitas that I'm thinking of. I'll think of his name. But Andy Freitas had a great video on it as well. But they described him as like America's bigger brother. The guy was only 31. He had 2 kids. He's the CEO of Turning Point. He made it out of nothing. He went to campuses far and wide. He was at the University of wherever, community college in Utah on a Wednesday just to talk to people like he does 200 to 300 days a year. He wants to go out there and let you talk and have a debate. He's the guy. The left doesn't understand his importance to the movement. They were talking about him for the next president. They were talking about he is the leader until proven otherwise for everybody under the age of 25. They see him as a grown-up brother, father figure. The guys that are older than him are like, you're doing it the right way. You're teaching these kids. I don't think the left understood what they did. And I think that this was a bridge too far. So the two things that I'll bring to you, and we're going to talk about the political violence that could possibly follow. I see the difference of Democrats and Republicans. Democrats use violence like a dial. Something doesn't work, they ratchet it up a little bit. Canceling you didn't work, calling you names didn't work. Okay, well, what about doxing you? Tick, tick, tick. What about debanking you? What about taking your bank account like Michael Flynn? Tick, tick, tick. What if we spy on you? What if we try to assassinate you, but we miss by a quarter inch in Butler, Pennsylvania? Tick, 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 tick. To the Republicans, violence is a switch. It gets bad enough, and then we go revolutionary. The silent majority sits back. They kind of take it. The country was being led in a way that they didn't agree with. They were the silent majority. A very vocal minority of people started using the MSM to guide culture where they wanted it. And we got into this weird period, mid-COVID hit. And it was like every day the Republicans, the do-nothing party, are just waiting for that switch to flip. Now, I am not advocating for any violence. What I will say to you is, to point one, they gravely misunderstood who Charlie Kirk was and what he meant to this movement and to the larger population of people that they think don't exist inside of America. He meant way more. You killed everybody's older brother. You killed him in front of his family. His girl ran to him because she was terrified of the gunshots. If you celebrate that, like we're at odds. I can't coexist with somebody like that. And what I fear is that we've gotten to the point where it's bad enough. And it's been dialed up to as much as this other population will stand, and now people are talking about flipping the light switch. Ben, where do we go from here?
Well, it's like initially, first of all, I want to say that there's been political violence on both sides, so it's been, and I think you have these actors out there who will be influenced kind of like a suicide bomber, and take actions that are devastating, and I understand that these are influenced actions in many cases, and so I think political violence, if it escalates, it's really going to undo the fabric of our country. And I think the most important thing, as I was saying in the beginning, is the call for leadership. A lot of these people that are out there celebrating this, you got to go into their psychology. What are they trying to do? They're trying to get approval from people that they want to like them. They want to approve them. Okay, they want to have like status in their group. And so what we need to do, though, is we got to make it cool again to be a leader, cool again to speak against these things. So if you're a leader in the group and you don't want what Aaron's talking about to happen, where we have, no kidding, crazy-ass violence happening, okay, more stuff, protracted bombing campaigns like they have in some of these destabilized countries, whether it was in Europe with the Red Brigades, the anarchist movements, or, other groups as well too, death squads, crazy stuff like that, okay? If we don't want this to devolve someday into that, leaders on the local level, the small level, you have to step up and say, this isn't what we do. Discourse, disagreeing, fierce competition is what we do, okay? And you got to understand that our democratic process, our free and fair elections that we have, okay, is there corruption? Are they always perfect? Probably not. But you do have a system where you can compete, where you don't kill each other. Because I got news for you. If you want to have it might is right, and you want to have the strong man wins, we got that too, okay? And that probably won't work out the way you're hoping it does. Because you're probably not the strong man or the strong woman. There are a lot of them out there.
They don't know what a woman is, so that's fine.
So Ben, let me say something to your point. Let me say something to back up your point. Yeah. I don't think people understand what a revolution looks like in America
100%.
on a death toll standpoint.
You're right.
Okay, and I encourage everybody to go read 1 second after the wiki page. I would guesstimate we'll probably be at 50 to 75% population loss after 6 months of just anarchy. So to your point, I don't think people understand the ramifications. Oh, we're going to have a revolution. Okay, let me tell you something. There's a lot of people that die in a revolution. Yeah. Okay?
I hate to say it. One of the first ones probably will be some of these jellyfish-looking people jumping around celebrating what just happened. Just calling it like it is. You are not the alpha. You are not the. Yeah. You are not the pack leader.
I call those people. The 1 second after wiki is up on your screen there. You can check it out. Good job, Jake. Yeah, I tend to call those people loot drops. When they talk wild about some scenario like that happen, I'm like, bro, you're a loot drop. I'm gonna take all your stuff. I'm gonna be able to go super light because I'm just gonna leapfrog between.
Like a video game.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Yeah. It's gonna be boss to next boss.
But just the one last thing I was just saying, a real 10 seconds, is just leaders need to step up. People need to step up. Recognize where we're at. Political violence is on the rise in our country, and We need to be brave. We need to be leaders. If you don't want this, young leaders out there, okay, on the campuses, things like that, you can compete. You don't need to agree with anybody's ideas. You get free speech. Say you can do it all you want to. Pursue happiness the way you want to. But let's have a friggin' limit where we're not shooting each other. We're not killing each other. Okay? That's where it's got to stop. Because I'm telling you, we're going to talk about some stuff later. You might all be too damn busy in a little while to be thinking about any of this stuff. And you don't have any clue what I'm talking about maybe yet. But if you're watching this live right now or later, you're going to find out because there's a lot of crap stirring up overseas. And you might find yourself in just what you want, but over there. So,
all right. Back to this timeline to button it up. So the FBI released photos of a person of interest connection with the shooting a little later that night. The reward was announced at 5:30. Patel and Bongino, and then 6:17 releases new photos of the subject. That's Mountain Time, and then 6:03 in the Mountain Time, Trump announced on a Fox News that the suspect is in custody. They've taken suspect Tyler Robinson. We got him and announced that a 22-year-old Tyler Robinson was taken into custody wearing clothing consistent with his attire and surveillance footage released by law enforcement. A lot of question marks around this yet. There's a lot of reports coming out. Mug Club and Stephen Crowder, have been doing great work. They got the release report. There were etchings on the casings with anti-fascist and trans ideology written on there. There were some other things that his family, basically, he grew up in a nice family, 4.0 student, highly intelligent, and basically the break is when he went to college. When he went to college, he started having more and more leftist ideas, more and more alignment with that ideology, all the way up to and including an Antifa-aligned agency kind of in the area. And from there, he made this terrible choice. His parents were Republicans, came from a stable family, good relationship with his mother, with his parents. He was just radicalized. Jake, man, just point blank, are the American college institutions just turning out leftist ideology? Is that their number one export?
I mean, you got to wonder. He's in Utah, and that's the farthest from the leftist community that they got in America, basically.
Yeah.
Correct? Right?
Yeah.
Like you're the political pundit here. Like, you got real hard line Republicans in Utah. The one thing I'm going to say is, to add a little comedy to this, does his dad get the $1 million turn-in fee thing? Because his dad's the one that turned him in, right?
Dad's a 29-year cop. 29-year cop.
Yeah, 29, big time cop. And I said to my wife, man, in all this tragedy, I said, God help us if we ever had to do that. Mm-hmm. Right? Like you want to feel bad as a dad? Like we all got kids on here. You want to feel bad as a dad? Have to make that phone call to the FBI, turning one of your sons in for some crazy shit like this, man.
Right. Imagine that conversation before the phone call. Imagine that conversation from the time that you found out that this thing happened to the time you got to make that call. Imagine the living nightmare that you're in as a parent.
It's terrible, man.
Just think about that. Think about that for a second.
But the thing that's worse, Aaron, you're looking at yourself like I failed in every aspect of life, bro. Like that family, 27-year cop, man, he's going to be destroyed. The rest of his life is destroyed.
His little brothers, 2 little brothers.
His little brothers, his mom's life, everybody. They're all going down.
This is like a hunting, fishing, camping family.
Yeah.
But I'll say,
comes
dude,
for everybody. And they're going to get, it's a sad thing, and I'm not wishing it on them, but they're going to get it.
But I'll say too, is that, and someone mentioned it in the chat there and just said that rebel without a cause. And that's 100%, because as this is a very right wing, not right wing, but let's say more Republican conservative community in Utah, and you have also the Mormon faith there as well too. So we have a lot of more conservative ways of living and ways of thinking. And so this kid may have just said, you know what, I'm sick of all that, and I like these ideas. And they're filling your head full of crap. And just remember, it reminds me of the guys in the GWAT. Yes, we will give you, 500 women and friggin' millions of dollars, but not here. It'll be later.
But later.
You gotta first blow yourself up. And then, meanwhile, in the families in the background, this is real. This is true talk, right? Hamas, all this stuff, right? Hezbollah. Family gets a pension when you do this too. Oh, really? And forever you'll be remembered as a badass. They'd fill your head with significance, with purpose, with meaning. You will be a hero of the new revolution and all this crap. Are you coming with me, great leader? Oh, no. I gotta stay back. And we're just gonna chat over the secret thing. I won't be there, but you're gonna be a badass for doing it. They exploit you.
We got to write.
You're getting exploited. Yeah, that's right. I gotta go see Regiment, right? I gotta go back and talk to Regiment.
I gotta go to Taliban HQ.
They're exploiting you. Make no mistake. Any young people out there listening to this, you're listening to the War Room. I know we got a bunch of you guys out there and girls, and they're exploiting you. Make no mistake. You are a pawn and a tool. Think for your damn self. You mean if I do this, you'll remember me forever? Oh yeah. You'll be remembered. You'll ruin your family. You ruin everything. You're a pawn, a tool, and you're the biggest loser ever.
Ben just fixed MK Ultra.
Bam.
We're done. We're done here. Wash your hands of it. Man, where do we go from here, Jake? How do we lead through this, brother?
Man, I just want everybody to take a step back and just look at yourself and your family and being like, are you being a good American? Right? Like, I don't care. All this rights, everything has become so polar opposites right now. Just look at your family. Are you doing the right thing? Did you buy somebody lunch today? Are you paying it forward? Did you tell somebody they look great today? Thank you. Have you been a good person today? Right? I think we've lost, like, America used to be super wholesome, good people, and it's turned into the damn, like the whole train incident. We're going to talk about it later, but it's just like, what are we doing, man? Like, this is America, No one got here, unless you're a Native American Indian, even them, like, no one got here, like, not immigrating. We're mad at immigrants. We're mad at everybody. Like, instead of just being America is the best country in the world, let's make it better. Everybody's in this country like, oh, I don't like it. I want to do bad things. It's going the wrong direction. Like, man, look, man, just tell somebody they did a good thing today. Hold the door for somebody. Buy some old lady some food at the grocery store. Pay for her groceries. Be a good American, man. I don't know where to go. I kind of side with Ben. Like, our leadership needs to step up, but part of the problem is the leadership is kind of divisive, right? We got half of the government got fired, right? And a whole bunch of people in the government are really mad about that. And it's just like, man, we're now at the Department of War. The military is upset. So, with change comes, upheaval. But I just ask every American to be a good person, man. Just do something good for somebody today.
Jake's 100% right. Now let me say a couple things here. Okay, let's get down to like tactics and let's get down to hard facts. The rubber meets the road. Okay, if you're disgruntled, or somebody's disgruntled, and they're disgruntled because, like Jake said, they lost their job, the economy's bad, right? You don't like what's going on with the immigration, all stuff like that. First of all, there's another election cycle coming. Okay, use your vote, organize well, really, really work it. Okay. The next thing is this: you can find another pathway. Okay, you can find another way to solve your problems. Okay, this doesn't have to be the end all be all. But I'll tell you what: if you make a decision into violence and all these things like that, you are taking, first of all, your life in your own hands, and you're also risking imprisonment. You're risking all these problems, all these different things like that. So when I say the leaders need to step up, I mean you. I mean me. I mean tactical level, small unit level leaders, right? I mean community leaders. I mean friend group leaders. Like, yo, man, stop talking about that. That's not cool. I don't agree with the guy, but, we don't talk that way. Because who's next? That whole action's coming to a theater near you. If this is the way it's going to be played, let me tell you what, there are wackies on both sides, wackos who will do it on both sides. We need the rule of law. We need, good order and discipline. We need, the only way, I'm going to tell you this, everybody talks about science, technology, arts, all things like that. You know how a civilization and a society flourishes? When they have a stable environment. Stability allows arts and sciences to flourish. It allows all these things to grow. It allows the economy to grow. The economy loves having stability. This is not stability. So, but it takes all of us, like Jake's saying, being good Americans, and if you're disgruntled for some reason, one way or another, and it's financial, I got news for you. If you are financially not doing well right now, you lost your job, and we saw this all the time in the global war on terror. Where did these terrorists come from? I'll tell you where they came from, right? Everyone thinks they're ideologically motivated. Bullshit. I'll pay you $14, go shoot at the Americans. Literally. And yes, 14 every week, man. Really? Well, what if I don't want to? Well, then we're going to kill your family. $14 or you kill my family. Yeah, I'm going to go shoot at these guys. You got to go right over there, take a shot. You hit them, you don't hit them, who cares? Plant this thing down there, blow them up, $20. Really? Yeah. What if I don't? I'm kind of scared. Well, we're just going to murder your family. Don't make me bring the other guys. The other guys are bad. The ones that come all in black and ninja suits, they'll kill you. Okay? So what I'm trying to tell you is this. If you're disgruntled, right? If you're disgruntled and you're taking action, violent action, because you're disgruntled financially, no president, okay, getting in office is going to change your situation. You are in the United States, by the way, okay? You're in a country where there's lots of opportunity, lots of chances, and you can take these chances, step up, make a change in your life, all right? And you can keep crying about it, and you can decide to take violent action, but then violence is going to come to you, and you're going to get in prison, you're going to lose your freedom, all those things. So there's no easy way to step into it and change your life, but to put in the work. But as soon as you start doing something that advocates violence, or you want to be a negative leader, I'm telling you, they're going to find out who the ideological influences of this guy are. They're going to find out. And how do you think that day is going to go for them? Think about it.
I'm just going to tell you to do what Charlie Kirk would have told you. Find God, find a woman you want to spend the rest of your life with, have kids, try to be good to other people. That's it. People with kids don't engage in protests and rallies because they have a job and they have something other than themselves to worry about. They're not internally focused, thinking they're the main character of the world, and that main character is constantly victimized, attacked, and ostracized just because of who they are. That sort of victim mentality has led us to where we are. And the suicidal empathy on the other side of it that say, well, maybe if we were just nicer, maybe if people wouldn't have said such mean words. We got to move on. We got to be better. And move on we will. You probably missed this story, but don't worry. Ben is here to knock it out of the park. Ben, we're going to bring up this first video here. We're going to talk about NATO launching Eastern Security. It's a new mission for NATO. Here we go.
Aimed squarely at Moscow, NATO chief Mark Rutte has unveiled a new mission designed to deter any more Russian drone incursions into NATO countries. Have a listen.
NATO is launching Eastern Sentry to bolster our posture even further along our eastern flank. This military activity will commence in the coming days and will involve a range of assets from allies including Denmark, France, United Kingdom, Germany and others. In addition to more traditional military capabilities, this effort will also feature elements designed to address particular challenges associated with the use of drones.
Well, this comes, of course, just 2 days after Russia violated Poland's airspace in its war against Ukraine. And in the next hour for you, the UN Security Council is expected to hold an emergency meeting on that Russian drone incursion. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk has declared that
Yeah,
Wednesday.
I think that's good, Aaron, right there. Hey, so if just to catch everybody up really fast, Russia basically sent 24 of their drones across into Polish airspace. Now, what makes this, have they violated the airspace throughout the war? Yeah, quite a bit. Usually it's a little touch and go on a mission from Russia to Ukraine. This time, though, the drones came from Belarus. It was different. This was like a direct line to Poland. And, you know, there was no way what they're saying is this could have been a mistake. And so NATO scrambled jets, shot down the drones, and Poland is calling for Article 4, which means consultation with NATO. Okay, they did call for it already 2 days ago now. And so this is new as of today. This new security, this new operation, okay, Eastern Sentry, is new as of about 7 or 8 hours ago that this is happening, okay? And so what the reason why I say we need to figure our crap out at home, we got to get good at home, and our leaders have to step up, and we need to come to some type of agreement and some type of at least, you know, more peaceful, stable way of operating here politically at home, is because over there they're licking their chops, man. They're licking their chops right now. You've got Russia testing NATO. This is what everyone's saying they're doing. You don't think they see what's going on at home? You don't think they see, you know, division? Of course they do. Putin is a master at statecraft, a master strategist, okay? And he's a little bit nuts right now, too, from some of the psychological studies I've done on him as well, too. He's definitely losing the plot a bit, and he has a very shrinking group of advisors around him, so he doesn't hear any dissent. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, he's an ex-KGB spy. He's been the despotic leader of a national superpower. Russia's GDP isn't as big as Texas. They're essentially a gas station with nukes. And he's been holding on to that power. He's got a dream to reunite all of Russia, to restore the great Russian Empire. And as old folks do, he just starts hyper-focusing on that one thing and making choices that he thinks is going to get him back to there. It's part of what led him to go into Ukraine. It's part of what leads him to flout NATO and their power. He wants to push the bounds of NATO and their power. I'm going to pull up a drone image of what those drones look like in and out of Belarus after I turn it over to Jake here. I just want to let you guys know. So Article 4 of this article allows any NATO member to state or member state to request consultations with other members if it believes its territorial integrity, political independence, or security is threatened. So it's a mechanism for dialogue. Article 5, which is where it gets pretty sporty, that's the collective defense article. This is the cornerstone of NATO's collective defense principle. It states that an armed attack against one or more member states in Europe or North America shall be considered an attack against us all. Jake, I'll just ask you directly, why are we in NATO? Why are we getting dragged into this regional war between Poland and Russia?
I've been a big proponent to get out of NATO forever because our contribution to NATO is 50%, right? So like, I'd much rather just not give them 50% and show up when the stuff happens like we did in World War II. I think we haven't mentioned it on here, but I want people to understand we have probably 50,000 troops in Poland right now. Mm-hmm. I've got at least 10 officers that I know that are on deployment in Poland right now. So I don't want anybody to think that like, oh, we're just, this is all new happening right now. We've been over there since this war started as a deterrent against Russia. I don't know where it's going. Someone asked in the chat, they made a good comment. Everything is happening for a reason right now. The dissidents in America, the war in Russia, all of it's tied together. If you don't think it is, you're crazy, right? Like, there's a whole bunch of strings being pulled in the background that are causing a whole bunch of stuff to happen. What's the end state? I don't get paid enough to figure that out.
Yep. Ben, we can see the drones up here on the map. So just to let everybody know what you're looking at, this is the drone activity for the period in question. Wow. You can see up at the top left of your screen. Those are quite a lot of incursions. When I first heard about this, like, listen, drones lose link. They lose the ability to talk to the people that are controlling them. A lot of times they'll just fly off on their last heading, their last altitude, and they just fly until they run out of gas. That's a real thing that even the top drones in the world do. I can tell you because we would have to be the guys that would go get the drones when they lost link, and they would splash out somewhere, especially if there were munitions on them. If they couldn't get those munitions off of them, that's a big deal. You can't have civilians poking around a Predator that has 2 Sidewinder missiles on it. So you'd have to go figure those out. But as I look at this map, that doesn't look, especially all of these incursions here, all of these little pokes in, those aren't lost link. These 2 up here, okay, cool. Maybe those just ended up losing link and losing control and they just went off straight. But, you know, Glenn or Ben, what do you think about, you know, NATO Article 4 and 5 and where we are?
You know, I think right now the consultation, obviously it's a defensive organization. You know, I think Putin, I want to say this. Okay, first of all, let's start with this, and I'll tell you what I think about it. But what do we think was going on last week in China? What do we think was going on there? Okay, they are forming an alliance with China. This is my opinion, okay? And it's just too timely that all of a sudden they're testing a NATO country like this directly, okay? Are they trying to distract us? Are they trying to get us to mobilize while China's going to test out Taiwan? Because I'll tell you what the nightmare scenario is. China full force into Taiwan while Russia full force is into a NATO country, okay? This is the nightmare scenario. Now we're really spread thin. The United States is going to have to really step up. Will there be a bloody shooting war? You're damn right, okay? Putin knows this. Putin knows we probably don't have the political stomach for it. He can do whatever he wants to. He's a dictator. And I'm going to tell you something about him with his psychology. The crazy thing is about a dictator. They say when you're a dictator of a country, you're riding the tiger, okay? And I talked about this last night, but riding the tiger, okay, means when you're riding a tiger, you can't get off that tiger because if you do, it'll eat you. You think Putin can go into retirement? He'll be killed. You think Putin can go ahead and say, oh, I'm stepping down, guys. I'm going to give me ruffles and flourishes. I'm going to go to my cottage little beach home and I'm going to retire. And I'll just, write articles. They will kill him. This guy, okay, he made a strategic blunder. He has no one telling him he was wrong on flawed intelligence, okay? He's in Ukraine. I think it's either win or get killed. I think that's it. They already tried to kill him once. He shot him down afterwards. He killed the ones who came to have a coup. So this is my personal opinion strategically. He's like, I got nothing to lose. Let me see who's gonna flinch first in this game of chicken. 'Cause I'm ready to burn the whole place down, man. I'm ready to burn it down while I'm in office. I'm not leaving office. I'm not leaving power. How about you? He's testing. He's definitely testing. Now, is it going to work out for him? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think, we got some pretty strong leaders over here. And I think the collective strength of NATO as well, too, even if they aren't contributing nearly what we contribute. We're talking about freedom of movement. We're talking about airspace. We're talking about, freedom of communication, diplomatic action, building consensus, building, WASTA, as we say, like, you're having the moral and political support from different areas. That matters a lot, right? You can put political and diplomatic pressure on China to put a fissure into an alliance, right? To breach an alliance. So there are a lot of different things that go into us having this NATO alliance. Yes, we pay a lot, but I think we gain a lot from it, just in my opinion. And it remains to be seen. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens here. But I do think that's in the mind of Putin. He's all in. He's all in. He's going to make his moves. He's going to run his gambit either for his greater glory and his legacy, or he's going to die in office. That's my opinion.
Jake, how do you handle a madman?
Man, let me tell y'all something. I didn't expect it to be this deep today. I don't know why, though. I don't know why.
Going deep, homeboy.
No, I'm just telling you,
we're
bro.
going into it.
Hey, I'm over here. I Googled the doomsday clock, right? We're at 89 seconds right now. Listening to Ben Pappas, I think we're headed towards a one-way street with bullets and bombs at the end of it, right? And like Ben said, like if them two guys get together and say, "Oh, we're gonna test NATO and then we're gonna go test Taiwan," we're right back in World War II. I'm gonna tell you this: everybody on this channel knows it. Everybody in the country knows it. We're not built for war right now. But you give America 6 months, and we'll be out there fucking up some shit. Okay, no different than us turning a car manufacturer into a B-17 plant that every 23 seconds rolled a B-17 off at the height of the war. So you can mess around and find out if you want to. It may take us a couple years to get up to speed. I know this. All three of us are going back into service because I got kids, you got kids, Ben got kids, and we don't want our kids. Yeah, I'll die before I let my kids die, right? Like. Yep. And it's different. I didn't have kids the first go around, GWAT, right? But now I do. Now I got some urgency. I got 4 years before I got a kid that's going to go serve in the military. So I'm going to go out there and make sure that this shit's over in 4 years.
I was going to say handled in 4 years. We're on a timeline, gents. Let's make it happen. All right, so follow Ben. He's obviously going to keep his finger on the pulse of this one. It's a bigger news story than you can possibly imagine. Make sure to follow Ben Sundays. He's getting hours of content out to you guys now. He's going to try not to talk about aliens. He'll stay focused. So, man, make sure you're following Ben. Get on there. Listen to the tapes.
Thank you.
You guys are not wasting your time. We saved this to the end, and I did it on purpose. I construct a show, baby birds. I got little breadcrumbs. I'm laying you down, and now I'm going to leave you with something to talk about for the weekend. So there's some very interesting information that's coming out, and it highlights the inconsistencies in the FBI story as it relates to Charlie Kirk's shooting. There's a video here that I'm going to play for you. It's pretty short, it's pretty accurate, and it brings up some great points of some things that we all need to be paying attention to and keeping our eyes on. Without further ado.
To go up against this FBI, the MAGA FBI, something's very wrong with what I just heard. I mean, I watched it. I was hoping that they had caught the bastard who shot Charlie. So we saw a video of a person jumping off the roof. It looked very legitimate to me. However, there was no rifle in his hand. Now, the Mauser does not break down very easily, incidentally, for those of you who know weapons. Something's wrong with the whole thing. They're trying to claim he removed the barrel from the Mauser and fit the receiver and stock in his backpack and barrel in his pants leg all in 2 seconds. It is not easy to remove a Mauser barrel or index it after reinstalling and remain accurate. We are not hearing or seeing reality. And by the way, the photo of the rifle allegedly left in the woods has the barrel installed. So we're supposed to believe a guy is on the run after killing Charlie Kirk, and he pauses in the woods to reinstall a barrel, and he leaves it for us to find, the FBI to find. I don't believe a word of it. I shouldn't do this. I know I'm putting myself at risk, but I can't take it anymore. I can't take the bullshit from this fucking government. It's lying to us.
All right. So listen, here's the question, man. I can't say that he's wrong. That doesn't make any sense. I've seen the videos too. I've been paying attention. I haven't been speaking out on it because this one is just affecting me emotionally in a different way, and I just decided to take some space. This is actually the first that I've even talked about the event, was tonight here on the show. That doesn't make sense. When you start asking other questions about obvious security mishaps, you can't help but start drawing parallels back to Butler, Pennsylvania. He was coordinating with somebody. He coordinated his rifle drop on a Discord or on a Signal chat with somebody. Who is that? Who are the two people that made themselves a distraction and caused confusion in the initial law enforcement search of the campus? Who are those people? How are they connected? How did they know to do it at the perfect time? Why was there a book that was published on September 9th called The Assassination of Charlie Kirk? Why was that on Amazon?
No, hey, man, I saw that. Hey, Aaron, I'm telling you, that right there, how you publishing a book the day before a guy gets killed? How you doing that?
Yeah, so the book in question, and I'm bringing it up here, Anastasia J. Casey, mysterious book titled The Shooting of Charlie Kirk, raised questions. It wasn't just the book itself that raised questions, it was the publication date. The publication date was September 9th of 2025. An Amazon spokesperson confirmed that the company had investigated the book in question. That's very important because that means this is not misinformation. This is not an AI makeup. This was an actual book that was actually published on September 9th, 2025, and the Amazon rep confirmed that it's an authentic news story. Now, I've always said, I try not to be conspiratorial in the beginning. Shout out to the dude in the chat that brought up Hanlon's razor, right? Hanlon's razor says always assume incompetence before you assume maliciousness. I got it. I've always said if you stop putting dots up on a board, I'll stop connecting the dots. There are a lot of dots up on the board right now. When we start talking about, and we're not even going to go as deep into the rabbit hole because I'm throwing this to you guys as a grenade at the end. I want to talk about it next week because I'm sure there's going to be updates. But there are some things that aren't making sense here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I guess what's in question is, we're saying, is it possible that this is a larger, deeper conspiracy assassination organization, an organization that is running an assassination campaign, whether it was for President Trump or for Charlie Kirk? Is this kind of where we're going with it, right? Based upon what evidence we have. And again, evidence does not mean proof, but it's stuff I didn't know. I didn't know about the book. I really, with the rifle drop, I didn't know all those details that you brought up. And I love doing a show with you, Aaron, because you do structure a great show, but you get a real reaction. Like I didn't know about that. And you think about it, why would he put the rifle back together?
You wouldn't, you know that.
That doesn't make sense.
It's either a drop. You don't leave it for someone else to find. If it's a drop gun, it's a drop gun. If you're taking it with you, you take it with you. That's it.
So what we're saying is it entirely possible that he had an organization with him, so whether how big or small, whatever? Yes, of course.
Yes, he had support. That is definitely apparent, right? When we look at, and here's a way for you guys out there, when I look at one of these operations, when I think something's a psyop or when I think something doesn't make sense, I look and I ask, how would I do it? What do you need? You need a clear plan. You need contingency planning. You need support, and you need skilled role players. Not everybody has to be Jason Bourne, but in this situation, that's really not a far shot, everybody. That bolt action rifle, 30-06, that's got plenty of power. It's not like a straight line shoot like a 308, like a Lapua, or a bigger chamber like a 300. But a bolt action rifle from a stable platform like that, 200 yards isn't that hard of a shot. It's like 455 feet or something, I think, is the actual shot distance from the thing earlier. It's really not that hard, but it's too hard for somebody that's a shitty shooter to do it. It's an easy shot for a good shooter. It's a almost impossible shot. It's a really hard shot for like a novice shooter.
His friends had said before, I know on the Benny Johnson show, he said that his friends had commented about what a good shot he was and all these posts and things like that. So he was an experienced hunter. He's an experienced hunter and shooter since he was young.
So as you look at all this stuff, you've got coordination, you've got planning, you've got communication, you have skilled role players in the positions that they need them. You have distractions, feints, and misinformation. People were tweeting about this. There's a social media PSYOP MISO tool called Flood the Zone, where as soon as something happens, you just flood the zone with a counter narrative. You just put whatever narrative you can out there. And what happened as soon as those two dudes got rolled up? Social media exploded. We got the shooter. We got the shooter. Everybody reported. I knew everything about that guy in 10 minutes, and it wasn't him. It was the Kansas City Shuffle. They pointed left. We all went right. And I'll tell you, like, that's what happened. And there's no other way to say it. That doesn't make any sense. So I've seen some other stuff about Charlie's Ring and stuff about AI and, stuff about Bullet Path and all this other stuff. And it's hilarious that the economic experts that turned immigration experts that were previously like norovirus experts, they're now ballistics experts, and they're like telling me how it is a bullet flies. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You have no clue what you're talking about. But man, Jake, are your spidey senses tingling or no?
I know this. I already talked to the wife earlier today about going over the plan.
Yep.
And we were going to take some family precautions. And I want to add one thing. I watched an anonymous video today. He said we got 17 days. So this goes back to the warning I sent out in May. There's a whole lot of magic parts moving in America right now. I don't think any of them have America's best interests at it. But I know this. I'm going to try to be as prepared as I can be. And then I'm going to fucking shoot first and ask questions later.
Everybody, I'm going to leave you with this handy fact. Societies tend to have huge problems about every 50 years. America is no different. So today is 2025. What happened? What was done in 1945? World War II. World War I and World War II. World War I begat World War II. They were essentially the same conflicts spread out over a long period of time. World War I, World War II ended in 1945. Go back 80 years before that. What was that?
Civil War.
Oh, Civil War. Go back 80 years before that.
Revolutionary
War. And it goes back and it goes on.
Very similar.
The cycle's upon us, folks. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's every 50 years. We're right in this. We're right in the wheelhouse. And I think you guys would agree. This is the wildest time of my adult life. Like, I can't. Did you ever talk to your parents? You ever wonder if your parents had times when you were a kid, when you were just like a naive kid that was chilling in the house? Do you ever think that they put you to bed and they're like, oh my God, this is so wild? Watergate is such a wild time to me.
I'm going to tell you.
I know. Sorry, Jake, real quick. I know my dad grew up, he was young and during World War II and the Nazis, he'd tell me stories about the Wehrmacht coming in and the SS and killing people in his village, and he was in the mountains in Greece. And, so I don't know if he was, if he was saying there's some wild times compared to that where, he's hiding in cupboards and houses for several days at a time after stealing a gun from a German officer or something, so crazy stuff. But it is wild times right now for sure. Jake, go ahead, and then I'll add something after.
I'll tell you this. Some of the most telling times of my childhood was my grandmother talking about the Depression and getting spankings over one Cheerio in a can. Like, I would get Cheerios as like a 3-4-year-old, make them myself, and I'd always leave one noodle in the can. I couldn't get the noodle out. It was like a fucking magic noodle. And she would sit me down and talk to me about the Great Depression and how they didn't have any food, and they were lucky they lived in Port Angeles because they had fish, but they didn't have nothing else on the table but fish because they could catch fish in the Puget Sound. And it was one of those things where you were like, Jesus criminy, right? Talking about making clothes out of burlap sacks and recycling. Everything they had was recycled. And I was like, man. So, I know this. Tough people make easy times make soft people, soft people make tough times. We can't get much softer than we are in America right now. So if the cycle you're talking about, Aaron, is a cycle, then we know what's coming. The best thing you can do is be prepared.
And I'll just add to that. I mean, like I said before, this is the time to come together. And, in memory of Charlie Kirk, it's okay to disagree without being disagreeable. It's okay to have debate. It's okay to not agree with somebody's ideas and then to compete if you're, going into elections, things like that. But we got to figure this out because there's big stuff going on overseas, right? You all might find yourselves in a real shooting war here very soon, and not the kind you're hoping. This ain't going to be Call of Duty. It's going to be you hugging the dirt while they pound you with artillery, stuff like that. That's another world, okay? This is not fun, cool, spec ops crap, stuff like that. This is going to be nasty, rough, maybe some robot drone chasing you, crazy stuff. So We better get good with each other, okay? Leaders need to step up. We need to be more courageous, braver. You need to care about your fellow human being. Again, I go back to the train stabbing, this psychopath doing what he did, and then nobody lifting a finger to help, not even asking, are you okay? Oh, damn, you're not. Let me call 911. You don't need to be a medic. You don't need to put some pressure on, call 911. And we both know she's probably going to die anyway, terrible, based upon the wounds she had, but at least you did something, okay? And, I think it's really, this is the time. This is the time we got to come together. We got to figure this out. Our leaders need to step up. And young leaders, you need to make it cool again to not be nuts and be an extremist on either side, okay? Make it cool to actually debate and to be, like Charlie Kirk said, disagree without being disagreeable, without hating each other. And the other side doesn't have to be evil. You don't have to dehumanize the other side, okay, if you disagree with them.
Sometimes the other side is evil. I just want to put that out there.
If they do evil things, you're right. If they do
I want to give people space to feel like they have a home here. So your home with me is that sometimes it really is evil. There you go. Ben, Jake, man, thanks. Great. Tight show for y'all. We want to say thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are the smartest people on the freaking internet. Follow Jake. Follow Ben. Find out everything that they're doing. Don't miss Nate over at Valhalla VFT. He goes live at 5. Go heckle him in the chat and say what's up. We want to say thank you every single Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern time. That's the first time I've ever said it right. We will see you Fridays on the War Room. We love